Let's take a look at percent increase and percent decrease. So taxes, tips, coupons, sales are all examples of percent increase, percent decrease problems. You can do these as a one-step or a two-step process. The two-step is the most common one that people know because it's kind of self-explanatory, but the one-step is a much more efficient approach for more difficult problems. So first off, the two-step, find the increase or decrease by doing a basic multiplication of percents as discussed above, and then add or subtract that to the original quantity, depending on if it's an increase or decrease. So let's first look at that, and then we'll go back and look at the one step. So a sweater costs $50 at full price. It is on sale for 14% off. What is the sales price of the sweater? All right, so first, the two-step process, we take our 50, that's the whole, times the percent, divide by 100, and that'll equal the part. So if we use the calculation for that, our calculator gives us 50 times 14 divided by 100 is 7. That is the discount. So the two-step approach, you would then take the 50 minus the discount and get $43 is the sales price of the sweater. Great. Now you try it on the right. Pause the video and just do the two-step approach to get the discounted price. What you should end up with is $31.50. And you should have arrived at that by first getting the $13.50 price for the discount. All right, now let's take a look at the one-step approach. For the one-step approach, what we do is to do an increase, we multiply by what's called a multiplier, and it is 1 plus the percent increase divided by 100. If it's a decrease, we multiply by the multiplier 1 minus percent decrease over 100. And this can be seen in a couple of ways, but let me see if I can show it to you first so you know that it works, and then maybe I can explain it. All right, so the 14% off, we would take our initial cost, this is now just a one-step approach, and multiply by the multiplier, which would be 1 minus 14 over 100. And 1 minus 14 over 100, let's work that out so we can see what we're actually working with. 0.86. And if we do that on our calculator, 50 times 0.86, 50 times 0.86, oh my goodness. Oh, wow, times 0.86. There we go, $43. So in one step, you could just type that into your calculator, and in one step, it'll just give you the value. You won't have to do another operation with, like in this case, getting 7 and then subtracting. So it's perhaps more complicated, but also more efficient. Now, really what's going on here is, let's say that's 100%. That's the total cost. That would be the $50. If we take away 14%, then what's left is 86%. So if they discount it by 14%, we still owe 86%. So the multiplier works out what percent you still owe. So instead of working with the 14% off, we just directly work with the 86% left. A little bit faster. Okay, pause the video and see if you can do the one-step approach for the question on the right. So the multiplier should be 1.081. Sorry, wrong problem. The multiplier is 0.7, and the answer should be the same, 3150. All right. So I prefer the one-step approach. So go ahead and, let's see, let me do one more problem on the left with the one-step approach, or the two-step, doesn't matter. I'm going to take the final cost and I'm going to do, this is a tax, so this is the plus. That would be the one-step approach. So let's take a look at it. 28800 times, and we can use parentheses on our calculator, 1 plus 7.05 divided by 100, close parentheses. And one step gives us $30,830.40. Now the two-step approach would have been first computing the 7.05. That's how much tax, and then taking that value and adding it to our original price to get our final. That's why I call it the two-step approach. So here we have one step, two steps versus one step. All right, so go ahead and pause the video and work your problem out on the right, see what you get. Okay, the final cost is $325.38. All right, excellent.